think about the modern office, what comes to mind? Chances are it's not the sea of grey cubicles from decades past. Especially in a dynamic powerhouse economy like India, the very nature of where and how we work is undergoing a dramatic transformation. India is already the world's fifth largest economy, demonstrating incredible resilience and growth. And forecasts suggest India could climb to the third spot globally within the next 5 years. Now, that kind of economic energy doesn't just impact stock markets. It fundamentally changes the landscapes for businesses and the spaces they occupy. And that brings us to one of the most significant shifts happening right now: the rise of flexible workspaces, often referred to simply as co-working. It's rapidly moving from a niche concept to a core part of India's commercial real estate scene. So what exactly is a flexible workspace? Well, forget just renting a desk. Think fully furnished, ready to move in office solutions managed by professional operators. The magic word here is flexible. That could mean flexibility in how long you commit, the amount of space you need, or even the specific location you work from. It's designed to be adaptable, catering to the evolving demands of businesses, from nimble startups to global corporations. In this video, we are going to unpack why this sector is experiencing such explosive growth in India. We'll be using insights drawn directly from detailed industry research covered in the WeWork India DRHP. We will look at the key trends and powerful drivers fueling this boom, understand who is benefiting from these spaces, and explore what the future might hold for flexible work across India. Ready to dive in? Let's go. Alright, so before we zero in on flexible workspaces themselves, let's quickly zoom out. What makes India a hotspot for business growth right now? It really boils down to a few powerful factors setting the stage. First off, the sheer economic momentum. India isn't just growing, it's often outpacing the rest of the world. In fiscal 2024, India's economy grew by a robust 8.2%, significantly higher than the global average. That shows a strong rebound after COVID and a thriving domestic engine. And looking ahead, growth is projected to stay strong at around 7% for fiscal 2025. Simply put, a growing economy means growing businesses, and growing businesses need places to work. Next, you have got the people power. India is now the world's most populous country, and crucially, it has one of the largest working age populations globally. Nearly a billion people between 15 and 64. It's a young, dynamic workforce, increasingly skilled and ready to contribute. Then there's a shift towards cities. India is urbanizing rapidly. More and more people are moving to urban centers, especially the major tier 1 cities, seeking better opportunities. This migration fuels demand not just for housing, but for quality services, infrastructure, and importantly, modern office spaces. And finally, underpinning much of the growth is India's powerhouse services sector, especially the booming technology industry. This sector is a massive employer and a key driver of demand for the kind of flexible, modern office solutions we are talking about today. So, you have this incredible convergence: strong economic growth, a massive young workforce, rapid urbanization, and a thriving tech and services scene. It's this powerful mix that creates the perfect environment for businesses to expand and fundamentally reshape the demand for workspaces across the country. So, we have seen that India provides fertile ground for business growth. But what are the major forces turbocharging the growth of the flexible workspace industry across India right now? Let's break down the 4 key drivers fueling this growth. First, and perhaps most obviously, is a fundamental shift in how companies think about work itself. The pandemic cemented hybrid and distributed working models for many. But it's more than just where people work, it's about the experience. Companies are increasingly focused on making the office a destination, a place for collaboration, innovation, and building company culture. According to research, a whopping 58% of occupiers in India are now more focused on improving employee experience. This means investing in better amenities, think fitness centers, outdoor areas, quality food options, and creating spaces that genuinely support employee well-being and productivity. And while hybrid remains popular, there's also a clear trend towards bringing employees back to office more often. The report notes 90% of the companies prefer at least 3 days in the office. But they know they need to offer a compelling, high quality environment to make that return worthwhile. Flexible workspaces, particularly the modern, amenity rich ones, fit perfectly into this strategy. Second is India's incredible rise as a global hub for global capability centers, or GCCs. What are GCCs? Essentially, they are offshore centers set up by large multinational corporations to handle specific business functions. Think IT services, R&D, customer support, analytics, etc. And India is a world leader here. Research highlights that India has the largest share of GCC units globally, with over 2,975 operating as of fiscal 2024. Think about that. Nearly 3,000 centers run by global giants. These GCCs are a massive driver of demand for high quality office spaces. They employ over 1.9 million people in India and generate revenues exceeding 64 billion US dollars. While they often build large campuses, flexible workspaces play a crucial role, especially for companies setting up new operations, expanding rapidly, or needing spaces for specific projects. In fact, GCCs accounted for a significant chunk, between 34 and 38% of the total office spaces leased in India recently. They say India's talent and infrastructure and flexible spaces help them tap into it efficiently. Driver number 3 is the incredible energy coming from India's own businesses, both startups and established domestic firms. India boasts the third largest startup ecosystem globally, with over 140,000 recognized startups and more than 114 unicorns as of mid-2024. For these startups and rapidly scaling small to medium enterprises, flexibility isn't just a nice to have, it's essential. They need the ability to grow without being locked into long, expensive leases. Flexible workspaces offer that perfect, scalable solution. And it's not just startups either. Larger Indian corporations are also expanding aggressively and modernizing their workplaces. The data shows a significant trend. Domestic companies dramatically increased their share of overall office leasing post-pandemic, accounting for nearly half in the first half of 2024. This homegrown demand is a massive pillar supporting the flexible workspace sector. Finally, let's talk about talent and cost. India offers an unparalleled advantage here. We are talking about a massive pool of skilled, largely English-speaking talent, including one of the world's largest annual supplies of graduates in science and technology. Over 2.5 million STEM graduates in fiscal 2023. Crucially, this world-class talent is available at a relatively lower cost compared to many other global hubs. The operating cost for IT services in Bengaluru is significantly lower than places like Singapore, Beijing, or even Manila. This cost arbitrage makes India incredibly attractive for companies looking to build skilled teams efficiently, further fueling the need for workspaces to house them. So when you combine these powerful drivers, the shift in work strategies focusing on experience, the boom in global capability centers, the rise of India's own startups and corporations, and the unbeatable combination of talent and cost effectiveness, you get the perfect recipe for the phenomenal growth we are seeing in India's flexible workspace market. We have explored the powerful forces driving growth, but what does the flexible workspace market in India actually looks like right now on the ground? Well, it's already substantial and growing fast. As of the first half of 2024, the total stock of flexible workspaces across India stands at an impressive 79 to 81 million square feet. That's up significantly from just around 35 million square feet at the end of 2020, more than doubling in just a few years. Now, where is this space concentrated? Unsurprisingly, the launch share, over 85%, is located in India's major tier 1 cities. We are talking about big economic hubs like Bengaluru, Mumbai, Hyderabad, Gurgaon, Pune, Noida, and Chennai. These cities have talent pools, infrastructure, and corporate presence that naturally attract both businesses and flex space operators. Bengaluru, in fact, stands out. It's not only India's largest flexible workspace market, accounting for over 30% of the total stock, but it's also one of the Asia's biggest office markets overall. But it's not just a tier 1 story. While the major cities dominate, demand is also picking up in non-tier 1 locations, driven by factors like hybrid work policies, access to talent in smaller cities, and lower cost. That's an area to watch for future growth. So, who are the companies providing all this flexible space? It's a diverse landscape. The report indicates there are over 440 flexible workspace operators currently active in India. However, while there are many players, a significant portion of the market is captured by the leading operators. Companies like SmartWorks, Office, IndyCube, and of course, WeWork India are key players in this industry. These large operators often offer a wide range of solutions, from basic co-working to sophisticated managed campuses catering to large corporations. So the picture today is one of a large, rapidly expanding market concentrated in major cities but with growing diversification and led by a mix of established operators offering increasingly sophisticated workspace solutions. Now let's look into what the future holds for flexible workspaces in India. Well, according to research, the growth trajectory looks set to continue and quite impressively. That the total flexible workspace stock across India's tier 1 cities is expected to surge from its current base to approximately 124 to 126 million square feet by the end of 2027. That represents a compounded annual growth rate of a very strong 18 to 19% over this period. This isn't just wishful thinking. These forecasts are based on analyzing historical trends, current market activity, the pipeline of new office buildings, and the expected continued demand from businesses. Now let's address the concept of the total addressable market or TAM. Remember, the TAM represents the total potential size of the market. By 2027, research estimates this potential opportunity for flexible workspace operators and other companies needing office space in tier 1 cities could be a massive 325 to 330 million square feet. And in terms of value, that translates to a potential market worth 787 and 1035 billion annually. That's a significant opportunity for operators who can effectively capture a share of this expanding market. So what gives analysts confidence in this continued growth? The underlying fundamentals remain incredibly strong. The growth will be driven by those key pillars we already discussed: India's favorable demographics, quality talent pool, the GCC boom, domestic growth, government initiatives, and evolving needs. All signs point toward flexible workspaces becoming an even more integral part of India's commercial real estate story, offering solutions that align perfectly with the needs of our modernizing, rapidly growing economy. Now, while the outlook is overwhelmingly positive, it's important to acknowledge that, like any rapid growing market, the flexible workspace sector isn't without potential challenges. There are a few inherent risk factors to keep in mind. Market saturation: as more players enter, competition could intensify. Economic uncertainty: broader economic downturns could impact demand for office space. Client churn: the short to medium term nature of some contracts mean operators constantly need to manage occupancy. Supply limitations: during peak demand, finding and securing enough high quality locations quickly become a hurdle. Navigating these potential headwinds will be key for operators as the market continues to mature. So, what's the big takeaway from our deep dive into India's flexible workspace scene? It's clear that this isn't just a trend, it's become a core component of the commercial real estate market. They are being fueled by powerful converging forces: the global shift toward hybrid work and employee experience, India's dominance as a hub for global capability centers, the explosive energy of its own startup ecosystem and domestic companies, and that unbeatable combination of a vast talent pool at competitive cost. The result: a market that's not just growing but projected to expand significantly in the coming years, offering a massive potential opportunity, potentially reaching over 125 million square feet and valued at a close to ₹1 trillion by 2027. Ultimately, flexible workspaces are more than just offices. They represent adaptability, efficiency, and a commitment to modern ways of working. As India continues its remarkable economic journey, these spaces are undeniably shaping the future of how and where business gets done across the nation. Thanks for watching.